This week we're going to start with Baroque instrumental music, as we have done vocal music now. And if you missed one of those episodes, just go to my channel and you will see Baroque music lesson 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now, let's look at the characteristics of Baroque music, as we will every time do revision on that while we're still busy with Baroque music. We see the long flowing melodic lines with many ornaments. So it was quite busy. The harpsichord, the sounds were plucked on the harpsichord, so the sounds didn't carry on. So it was very important to add ornaments. Now there I have the meaning of the word ornament. Ornament means to decorate, which means to make something more attractive and elaborate. This was very popular in the Baroque period and included many turns and trills. So there I have a trill. Okay, I've got turns. I have upper mordents, la, and a lower mordent, la. So the moment that I have a little line through, it means that I have a lower mordent. And with the trills, I start on, if they give me the note, the G, I start a note higher. Okay, I start with my trill from the top one. Okay, and the turn, I follow that direction of the turn. But when we do the questions and the ornamentations, we will have a whole lesson on all those ornamentations. Now we have many types of music. We looked at the vocal music where we had opera, oratorio. Now we get to the instrumental music and we have overtures. We've done that, the French and the Italian overture. We have concertos. We have the dance suite. We have different forms. Binary form, AB. Ternary form, ABA. Ground bass form we've done with Purcell. Ritornello. That means to return. And today we're going to look at the fugue. We also know that we have one mood throughout the entire piece. And we discovered in the last few lessons that the modes disappeared. Now all of a sudden we have major and minor keys using diatonic chords. So diatonic chords belongs to the chord, or to the key. So if I'm in C major, I will stick to the chords in C major. Energetic rhythms and continuous walking bass. Contrast between loud and soft, solo and ensemble. A contrapuntal polyphonic texture where two or more melodic lines are combined. Terrace dynamics, sudden changes in volume level, sometimes creating an echo effect. So we didn't have crescendos and decrescendos because I couldn't do that on the instruments. So it was a sudden change from piano into forte. And that created that echo effect. And we had discussed a lot the use of the basso continuo or the figured bass, and we had a small orchestra. Now let's look at the orchestra in the Baroque era. An orchestra is an instrumental group with sections of strings, woodwinds, brass and sometimes percussion. It is usually directed by a conductor, and in the time of the Baroque era we had the conductor sitting at the harpsichord. He didn't stand in front of the orchestra like the way that we see it now. He played the harpsichord, he filled in the harmonies, and he actually directed them from the harpsichord. The craftsmanship of excellent violin makers like Amati, Stradivarius, and Guarneri made the string section the backbone of the Baroque orchestra. The continuo or basso continuo part was usually played by the harpsichord or organ. They filled in the harmonies and they held the ensemble together. Plus a bass line often played by the cello or the bassoon. So in a basso continuo figured bass, I have the notes written out for the cello or a bassoon. And then I have a figured bass played by the harpsichord. So the harpsichord player was actually very clever because he had to look at the figured bass and then decide what he wants to do with those chords. The harpsichord is a keyboard instrument where the strings are plucked rather than hammered, and that is why we needed a lot of ornamentation because the sound couldn't carry on. In this era, the orchestra was relatively small orchestra. It's known as a chamber orchestra. At first, it was a haphazard collection of whatever was available. And as the 17th century progressed, the orchestra began to take shape. Okay. Instruments usually included the strings. They were the backbone of the orchestra, and they became a self-contained unit. The violins, violas, the cellos, and the double basses. Then we had woodwinds, recorders, and later on we had wooden flutes, oboes, and bassoons. We had some brass instruments, sometimes trumpets, natural trumpets, and natural horns without valves, because that the valve system only started very late in, late classic, later on romantic. We had those valve systems. But here the brass, if I had it, it was natural instruments. The percussion instrument, the only percussion instruments used were the timpani drums. They came in pairs. And then, of course, the continuo. There was a lot of contrast, especially in the dynamics. And that is that echo effects that we got. And we had that contrast because we couldn't do the gradation of sound. We couldn't go louder and softer. So in my book, I have the Bach Fugue. And you will see there, Bach Fugue in C minor, number 2. And our assignment this week will also be on this fugue. La 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 da 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 dee 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 dee. And then it starts there in the soprano. You see that the soprano will carry on with that subject, and that I have something else happening underneath. During the Baroque period, instrumental music became just as important as vocal music. Composers used forms from the Renaissance, such as the canzona, the ricerca, or the toccata, and added several new forms and designs that included the fugue, chorale prelude, suite, sonata, and concerto. And over the next few lessons, we will look at all those instrumental forms. Today we're going to look at the fugue. The fugue is a polyphonic contrapuntal musical form based upon the idea of imitation. So I just sang that melody in the beginning, and then it's copied by another voice. The repetition of a phrase or melody by a different part. It has main melodies that I call subjects. So the one that I sang now is the subject. And then counter melodies called counter subjects. These melodies are repeated at higher and lower pitches and different keys, and can also be altered in different ways. This leads to an interweaving texture and sounds like a very large and complicated round. So it sounds like a round, but it's complicated. It's usually written for 3 or 4 voices, and the voices I call SATB, whether it's for an instrument or whether it's for a choir. Fugue means flight, as the voices chase each other as they enter with the subject. The basic idea is that the fugues always begin with a single short tune with a strong musical character that is played on a solo instrument or sung by a solo voice, group, or produced by instruments' voices in unison. This tune I call the subject. This tune is then played by all the other instruments or voices in turn, but not necessarily at the same pitch. The entries are separated by sections of music called episodes. The origin of the fugue can be heard in the imitative style of the Renaissance vocal music and the canzona and ricercar. During the Baroque era, Handel and Bach perfected this form. The most famous collection is the 48 Preludes and Fugues by Bach. Now, before we go to the Cambridge book, let's see what your assignment will be in my book. Watch some YouTube videos explaining the term fugue. Write down the links that really helped you understanding the term. We've got wonderful videos of incredible musicians and teachers on YouTube. So write down the links of the videos that really helped you understanding this. So in your Cambridge pages, you will see that we have discussed lots of the things now that I already talked about previously. So instrumental music during the Baroque period, instrumental music became for the first time equal in importance to vocal music. They still use some forms of the Renaissance, the canzona, the risica, the toccata, fantasia and variations. And they also added new and important forms and designs, including the fugue, chorale prelude, suite, sonata, and concerto. The fugue is a contrapuntal piece essentially based upon the idea of imitation. It's usually written in 3 or 4 parts called voices, and these are referred to as soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. The detailed structure of a fugue can be rather complicated. And we're only doing IGCSE. Don't concentrate on all the fancy things that you read on the internet, because I can do a doctorate on one of the fugues of Bach. So just stick to the things that we have to know for IGCSE. Okay. The entire piece grows mainly from a single, fairly brief tune of strong musical character. The composer calls this tune the subject. Not on tune, but that's the idea. And then you see in the soprano, and then I have a link where I don't hear the subject, and there I have the subject again, and it's in the same key as the beginning. So when you get more complicated, you will know about answers and real answers and tonal answers, but that's not important for now. Okay, the subject is first heard in only one voice, and then it's imitated. That's important for you. Throughout the fugue, the subject enters in new keys, now in one voice, now in another. These entries are separated by sections of music called episodes. A composer may base an episode on an idea taken from the subject itself, or he may use other material. We can hear the origins of fugues in the imitative style of most Renaissance vocal music. Okay, and during the latter Baroque, the idea was brought to perfection by Handel and especially Bach, who composed many fine fugues for organ. And I also discussed that 48 preludes and fugues. Listen to the complete recording of Bach's fugue in C minor, number 2 from the 48, and spot the number of times you see or you hear the subject. And then assignment 34, we also have a vocal fugue for this week. We're going to listen to He Trusted in God from Handel's Messiah, and in which order do the voices of the chorus enter with the fugue subject. Just a tip for your assignment, if you find something that shows you the music notation as well, it will really help you with your assignment, like this one for instance, where you see everything. You see the subject in pink, and then you see on top the subject again. So look at the name and go to that one of the assignments. I also have this link on the form. I also copied this link on your Google Classroom, and it's nice to follow the sheet music, because then you see how the voices start with the subject. Enjoy this lesson, and I hope that you understand everything.